You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Grimm After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Grimm After Show.
Howdy there, Grimm fans. Thank you for tuning in. It is episode 310, Eyes of the Beholder. I'm Zach Wilson, and joining me on the show tonight is my lovely co-host, Yael.
Oh, thanks.
We're going to get right into the episode here. Very excited. I was very excited about this episode. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
There's a lot at stake. There was a lot of inter-character drama. Yael, first impressions.
It was really exciting, I think, to see a very awesome, different way to look at the show that wasn't just, here's the weekly story and there's some drama. It was just a really great way to do it. I loved this week.
Yeah, I mean, we open up, to start with our quote, we open up on, "I am glad 'tis night. Do not look on me, for I am ashamed of my exchange." Ooh. Very dark, very ominous. Just like a lot of these quotes, very poetic towards what we handle in the episode.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in. We got Alicia and Juliet. We open on them in a restaurant, and there's a little bit of tension, and because Juliet's not sure what to do.
Yep.
She now has this knowledge, or that's what we get right away. We get Nick comes up to her and just like, he's like, "By the way, your old friend, she's a Fuchsbau."
Way to drop it on her, Nick.
Like while she's in the bathroom too.
Right.
So no time to prepare, no like couple minutes to settle in with the news.
Yeah.
And as we find out later, Juliet is really bad at keeping a secret.
She is the worst at approaching these situations. Both times she approached it was so bad.
She just like, Nick's like, "Don't tell her, especially
Right.
don't tell her I'm a Grimm."
Yeah.
Because then she'll run.
Yeah. Also, this is important. So like, be calm about it. Play it cool. No, of course not. Of course not.
I mean, and we found out where Alicia and Juliet know each other from. They set up that they're old college friends, which is great. I mean, we knew that they were old friends, but now we actually know why they know each other.
It was great. I think it was really nice that she was like, "Hey, I know you're all wondering where I came from. Here's an answer.
Yeah.
Done. Set it up. Let's go."
But then Nick comes in and he literally just says, "Act naturally."
Yep.
Don't say that. That just makes it really hard for everybody involved.
Ugh, it was ridiculous.
But I thought that was a great storyline with this because it's like the Wesen in the closet. Like it's a very not subtle parallel with what the issues that we're dealing with in society with homosexuality and like, do you come out? Who do you come out to? Once people know about it, do you acknowledge it? It's a great way to delve into that issue.
It was a great way to also bring up the, is it your place to tell someone, "Hey, I know. Like, you're not ready to tell me, but I know, so I'm going to make you tell me." It was a great way to bring up that topic.
I mean, it was uncomfortable for Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dark secret. And like Rosalee comes in, Juliet goes to her for advice.
Yep.
And we sort of get a little bit more of what it's like to grow up being Wesen. Like, I think we've sort of assumed it to this point that they just grow up accepting it. Like, it's just who they are. They live in their Wesen world and they behave. That's just a piece of who they are. But in a world where they're interacting with humans on a daily basis and something they have to hide, you imagine as kids, like imagine if you, as a child, if you're like, your parents like, "You can't tell anybody about this whole big secret about who you really are."
Yeah, I think it was really, really interesting to have Rosalee tell us, you don't know anything about a child growing up, Wesen. You know what it's like for us, and it's different for us because we have you and you guys are weird that you accept us. But here's what it's like growing up as a child. It's something huge and powerful, and it's a part of who we are, and it's not, something we're telling everybody.
And just in terms of the world, the bigger world of the Wesen, I think it was great. Like, it sort of establishes more of why in all these episodes with all these different creatures, they've sort of delved into their own worlds, into their little pockets of society. They don't really interact as much on a whole, because, and this is probably why.
Yeah, it was great to really explain how it was that, you know, the Blutbot have their own support group and the Fuchsbau have their own support area, and you know, Bud and his team, they're all why everyone stays within themselves. It was really interesting. I loved it.
Yeah. Then as we go on with this storyline, we get Alicia's husband finally shows up.
Yeah.
And that's that was a big showdown.
Oh, that fight was amazing.
It was so cool. But we'll get to the fight a little bit more later.
I got excited.
I want to talk a little bit after that. We got into so from there we meet Jared Ellis.
Yes.
Just a young run-of-the-mill kid living in the ghetto
with an anger management issue.
Like he sees a beating outside of a
right.
We see this really cute moment where he's with his girlfriend, and it's so sweet, and he's got the drawing.
That drawing was so romantic.
And like, so we instantly love this guy.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and he sees a horrible crime. He has nothing to do with it.
Right.
He's not a bad kid by any means. But he sees I don't know, let me make sure I'm going to pronounce this right. A Jaguarte.
Yes.
Jaguarte. I thought, I don't know if this is racist, but I thought they were cheetahs the whole time.
I think the Jaguarte were jaguars.
They were.
I thought that wasn't Jared cheetah? Is he not different?
They're Jaguarte.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They did go I thought they were cheetahs because
they had spots.
If you've been following along, which I know you have not, with the graphic novels, they spent one issue dealing with what are called Casipepo.
Okay.
Which is a cheetah-like species, and they have like quick speed. And I was like waiting for like a Flash type moment where they just like zip around, but no, these are jaguar people.
But they look like cheetahs. They had spots. Anyway, regardless.
Either way.
Yeah. Yes, it was very heartbreaking for Jared to get not really caught in the middle, but to see this really sweet kid have to run for his life, really.
Well, it's a real issue. Like, you witness something with a gang. Gangs don't behave like you want them, like they should. They will take justice into their own hands, and they will attack you just for seeing it. You had nothing to do with it. You don't want any part of it, but the police want the truth. So now you're caught in the middle, and like there's no good answer.
Right. I think that what Hank did for them was the best that they could do. The police.
Yeah, I mean, he you just have to roll with it like punch by punch, but they kind of just, like, he forgot about, like, going to check on his girlfriend.
Yeah, I did notice that.
I know that he got caught up in, like, everything that's going on. Maybe he just assumed that she was not involved.
Right.
So they wouldn't have gone after her.
I guess he assumed that they wouldn't put together that was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because he was a guy at the cafe, and she was a waitress there.
Yeah, but then they come up, and they didn't know who he was. Right. They just knew a kid had seen them. But then they specifically go for her, and that's how they find him.
Yep.
Which that confused me for a little bit. I had to like stop and think about it. But they say that one line when they grab her, tell me about your boyfriend.
Right.
And they grab her, and then
so creepy.
You imagine that they just instantly, she's like, I know where he is. Don't hurt me. Not that she's doesn't have strength of her own, but
she seemed weak.
Yeah. But something I want to get into with the gangs.
Yes.
So we establish that there are two gangs, as we learn. They're the 7th Street Savages, which are a Seattle-based gang, and we have the North End Crew, which is a Portland-based gang.
Right.
And there's sort of a Crips and Bloods sort of thing where they're very much rival gangs. They don't like each other.
Right.
They will just beat each other for no reason.
And they don't usually infringe on each other's territory.
Yeah.
Usually.
The 7th Street Savages don't usually come down to Portland, but they have now, and we open on them beating up a Jaguarte until he's dead.
Right.
And his girlfriend, who we meet later in the hospital.
Right.
And she's deathly afraid.
Right, as she should be.
Yeah. One thing I didn't get, though, and tell me if you caught this, did they go into what kind of Wesen the 7th Street Savages are?
I don't recall them saying what they were, and I don't recall seeing them ever vogue.
Yeah, they didn't vogue in the episode, and they sort of, hinted that they are a Wesen gang, just because
Right.
they're talking about Wesen gangs and everything. Maybe could it be just a human gang versus like a Wesen gang?
I don't know. I mean, I guess my other question though that comes up is did they ever explain why it is that they came into town if they like never come into town?
I don't think so.
So this gang, who we assume are also Wesen, just decide, you know what? Although our gangs are at war, we're gonna come into town and start beating.
It could just be 3 guys who like came down to Portland for the weekend. They needed a getaway
maybe that is very possible.
from the busiest time in Seattle.
Right. I mean, I'm sure selling drugs does have its busy season.
Yeah. And speaking of selling drugs, that was I don't know if they've established that before, but Rosalee
Right.
reveals that she was a drug addict.
They revealed it, I think, early on when we met her. There was some
Okay.
sort of information about that, but I think it was really nice of them to remind us that that the Rosalee that we know and love now, this really innocent, wonderful woman, she did have a dark past. And Monroe had that great line. I don't remember it. It was
Was it because I wrote one down? I'm gonna knock your babushka off.
no, it was not that line.
Because that, growing up with a Jewish mother, that made me just hysterical.
Babushka means grandmother in Russian.
No. It's like a hat.
All right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure babushka is like a.
But babushka also means grandmother in Russian.
That's weird then.
I know. But so no, the line he said was something about our dark pasts. It was a really interesting line to bring up the fact that they both do have these histories that we know kind of about. We know that Rosalee did have some trouble with drugs and gangs, and Monroe used to do werewolfy things, but now he's vegan or vegetarian.
Well, that's what's great. Like last week recently in the season we got Monroe's darkness coming back, and like these are the 2 sweetest characters. They're
Yep.
the most innocent characters. Maybe except maybe Juliet, but like they're by far like as a couple the most innocent. And now they're going into their darker side. So I feel like that's going to sort of bring us to later on in the show a darker stuff to deal with. And that I'm looking forward to a lot.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, and the other big twist in this episode. So we follow Jared, and we know he stole his sister's car or like borrowed it for the evening,
Right. So romantic.
just to come visit her at work. Of course, that all went horribly awry.
Right.
So the police tracked the car because he ran a red light. Don't run red lights; they have cameras.
Yeah.
That's the quickest way to get caught for a crime or caught witnessing. Either way.
Whatever.
But so we find Zuri Ellis, which is who we've met before, Hank's physical therapist.
Yes.
Great to see her back.
Yes. And great to see her not as a physical therapist.
Yeah, I mean, we only got her for, 30 seconds last time,
Yeah.
which is basically just a flat, like, Hank asks her out and then...
And gets rejected.
But now, maybe
Yeah.
he's got a chance.
Maybe.
No, not at the end of the
No.
episode. He does not. Well, she stands lingeringly at the door.
Yeah.
But we'll get into
get
that
there.
more. So we meet her, and like she comes back and forth, and Hank spends a lot of this episode protecting her and her brother.
Pining over her. I mean, protecting her.
Yes. Yeah, all of the above.
Yes.
But he really just takes this into it, and he sends Wu home. Mm-hmm. He's just the least subtle person.
Yeah, he's really good at this. He is to relationship, he is to picking up on women the way Juliet is to approaching odd subjects or awkward subjects. They're both terrible.
No subtlety at all.
Nope.
I mean, the one other time we saw Hank in a relationship was back when he was under a spell dating Adeline.
Yeah, that was great.
So, oh God, Hank is not, he knows how to pick them.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect sort of reason for him to get involved and get really invested in this whole situation.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, very convenient when the gang comes knocking on Zuri's door.
Right.
He just happens to be on the phone.
Yeah, that was nice. I liked it. I think it was great. I was wondering if she was going to pretend everything was okay when they were on the phone. I feel like in TV shows they always do that, where like the bad guys will be like, "Shh, we're here," and then she'll be on the phone and can't say that something's wrong. And I'm really glad that she was a smart woman who was like, Hank, they're here. I need your help. I think that was great.
And she makes a break for it.
Oh, yeah.
So then they wind up in the safe house.
Yeah.
But they get found. I'm trying to remember. How did they got found?
The girlfriend was kidnapped, and so Jared calls her because he borrowed Hank's phone, and
Real
they say
subtle, Jared.
he needs to get his own stuff. He needs to stop borrowing people's stuff. But no, he calls her, and she says, "Hey, they've kidnapped me," and he goes running out the window.
Yep, and he chases them down. We get a really crazy, like another crazy fight scene.
Yeah.
Which was like great. And then we get the big reveal that Jared and Zuri are Wesen, that they are Yargwete.
Yes.
I'm not pronouncing Yargwete. I'm not going to try.
Whatevs. I think it was really awesome when Hank sees her and is totally calm. And she's like, wait a second, you're okay? And he's like, what's up?
Well, this was the great, like for me, just a fantastic parallel of the episode. With the whole Alicia Juliet thing is now we have two people also dealing with the fact that one's human, one's Wesen, and how do you handle it? In this case, there's a romantic issue. I mean, what did you think? Did you think that landed properly? I
do. I definitely saw the parallel of it, especially the part where both times that we saw this happen, where they went, "You're a Grimm," which was really awesome to see, because you see like everybody's so surprised at how the human and the Grimm are reacting to this Wesen, and I think it's really nice to see both ways that it could have gone, and that they really are these special people, that there aren't humans out there who can accept Wesen, and there aren't Grimms out there who aren't going to cut their heads off. So it's really nice to see, like, hey, these people are really different than what the other Wesen are used to.
Yeah, and I think especially for the Grimm side, like Nick is a very big exception to the rule. Nobody's heard of a Grimm that behaves like Nick before.
Yeah.
Like Wesen, they all have their different like levels of interaction. Like you have like the beavers who very much keep themselves. They're very scared. They don't want to trouble anybody. And like then you have like the Lowen, the lion people, who are very much like, I'm going to rule this world. But Nick, and so they fall into their stereotypes, but they're varying. The Wesen are all over the place. The Royals are very much involved. But the Grimms, they kill Wesen.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Nick is not that type of Grimm.
It just makes me wish that Grimms had been police officers in the past.
It feels like, well, I was trying to explain this to somebody today, like what a Grimm's role is in this society. And I kept wanting to say, they're like the police of the Wesen world, but are they?
They're like the police and the executioners. So they're what is it? The judge, the jury, and executioner. They're the judicial system.
Okay. I could see that. But then you have all these like courts and stuff and councils of the varying kinds.
Those are for exceptions to the rule when something's different. When it's not a straightforward case, you go to bring it to the people.
I mean, this is something I would like to see the show get into at some point. Why did the Grimms decide that they were charged with killing Wesen?
Well, they have the powers.
With great power and so on.
Yeah.
But like, why kill? Like, shouldn't they like corral them, police them? I guess maybe it's just the medieval mentality.
It could be that historically that was the only thing they knew how to deal with it, and that now I think, because we see there were times where we get a Wesen or something that in the past they said, hey, we're going to, this is how you kill them, and Nick says, wait, I think there's a better way to deal with this that maybe hasn't been brought up before. The cures for different things. The little boy who got an exorcism this season. He's a great example where in the past they were like, well, we don't know what to do with it, so you either kill it or you give it to the council. And so I think now we have a Grimm and the technology and the modernization of it who can say, look, there are other options, and here's what we're going to do instead of killing everyone.
And that's great. And like, so I think we're going to see more of that, like that resistance to Nick wanting, not the resistance, that's totally other separate issue, but we're going to see a pushback towards Nick's new worldview. I'd like to see maybe another Grimm pushback.
Oh, yeah.
Not just Nick's mother,
right.
but like, I mean, we still haven't met a Grimm, another Grimm on the show that's not his direct family.
Right.
But that's way off topic for this episode. But so Hank and Zuri.
Yes.
Do they have a future?
Hank and Zuri, I think it was really interesting to see the episode end paralleling the other story and with a rejection, with him saying, I don't have a problem with this, and her saying, I do have a problem with this. I don't think we've ever seen something like that. And I think that's going to be really interesting. I think she's not going to go anywhere. I think we're going to see her at least one more time. That's 100% speculative, that we're going to see her one more time. And I think... I don't know.
I mean, I don't think she's going anywhere.
Right.
Personally, I think she's going to be in here. I think if she's probably going to pop up once or twice more for the rest of the season. And if she really lands with fans, we might see her back for season 4.
What about the romance? Who cares about the fans? What about
I meant if the romance lands properly and the fans respond to it.
Okay.
I mean, we hope that the romance goes well, but it could also, but not going well could also be the perfect way.
Yeah.
For it to be great television.
That's true.
And I mean, it's a great reverse of like what you expect. You expect the human to be like not okay with Wesen, but Hank's like, I don't care. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that he can't see it.
Maybe.
I wonder if that's like, it's something that he just like kind of knows. Like, it's almost like, oh, well, you have a slight genetic difference, but I can't see you in full vogue.
Well, maybe it's more that she's got this. I feel like it's going to end up being that she's got this whole life situation going on, and it has nothing to do with the fact that she's Wesen. That's my theory, is that they're going to pull one of those. It's not about that. It's that I have to raise my little brother, and I'm all alone, and we don't have parents, and like blah, blah, blah. That's my theory. Done. All
right. Done. Now, there's no more theories on this topic. So... instant transition. We're going to move back to Alicia and Juliet with the very same thing. So smooth transition in reality.
Nice.
I mean, we get a very similar situation, but the reverse thing where we even see Alicia go on to full Voga for Juliet, and that was such a sweet moment.
Oh, it was adorable.
You're just like, oh, it's like, and because it sounds so cheap, because it's like a furry little hug with, and it's.
And the ears when they hug and you see Alicia's ears from behind, they were so adorable. It's like a kitten.
And then like I wonder what's gonna like progress. Like the big thing with that is that it's not always easy to believe that people don't judge you.
Right.
And that's Alicia's thing. Like she just, as much as she wants to believe Juliet, she doesn't for like most of the episode.
Yeah.
Do you think that's gonna come back a little bit?
I honestly think Alicia's storyline is done.
Yeah?
I think that she's out. I think that's the end of that.
She did move out in the episode. She officially finds an apartment.
Right.
So the bulk of her storyline may be over with.
I fear that they're going to be like, well, we're done with that. Hands clean, next.
But we have to talk about, before we move on, the fight.
Oh, the fight was so good.
The fight was awesome.
Yes.
So if we have them sitting in a house, like they're dealing with, Alicia is not okay with Juliet knowing and calling it out and everything. She's going to leave. She's moving out.
Yep.
She's done. And at that very, very well-timed moment, just like with the phone call, Joe bursts in.
Yep.
Joe the Klausstrike.
Yes.
Bursts through the door and just attacks.
Yep. And Juliet fights back, and it was beautiful. She did her own stunts, I read somewhere.
That's cool.
Bitsy did her own stunts. And it was just the greatest fight sequence because it looked so authentic.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a super ninja-y fight sequence. It was like, this is how I would fight back to a man who barges into my house and attacks my friend.
Yeah. But before we move on, I want to take a quick moment, a little late in the show, but to remind you guys, go to iTunes, please rate, comment, slap us with 5 stars if you're enjoying this show. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you want to see more of. We love hearing from the fans. We love talking with you guys. Hit us up on the YouTube. I love getting into discussions with you guys. I'm sure Yael will jump in at some point. We do this for free. We do this because we love this show, because you love the show. We want to know more about how we can do this better for you. Yep. It makes my day. I say it every time, but it makes my day whenever somebody tweets at me about the show or just about Grimm or one of the other shows I'm doing. I really just enjoy it. So back to the fight. Just like Juliet just jumping in, and she jumps onto Joe's back. Mm-hmm. She grabs him in the eyes.
I think my favorite part of the fight was when they got him on the floor and you've got Juliet kicking from one side and Alicia kicking from the other, and he's on the ground and they're just both kicking at him. Oh, it was amazing.
The one thing about the fight that I'm just like, Nick got knocked down at the very beginning, so you took him out, okay.
Yeah.
But it took him good 2 minutes to get up and grab his gun and come in there.
I did notice that.
As a cop, his gun is a lot closer than that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be mad about it because it's a great moment. Mm-hmm. And like Juliet raised up the frying pan, a little bit stereotypical. I had flashes of like Peach in Super Smash Brothers, like the most just sexist like weapon ever, but hilarious nonetheless.
Well, then you throw in Alicia grabbing the flower pot and dropping that on his head.
But great moment. I want to see more of Juliet fighting.
Yeah. I just really want to see Juliet and Alicia kick people on the ground. That's what I want to see.
And one thing I wanted some clarification on, because again, there's like some things with like something I was again trying to explain today to somebody who was new to the show, all the rules of voguing.
Yeah.
And during the fight, Joe, when he vogues, Juliet reacts to it, not impressed.
Right.
And she smacks him.
Oh,
but
beautiful.
So did he like because you have to intentionally vogue to scare somebody, right? But that's supposed to be like a huge offense where the council comes in and just like murders you.
Yeah, I think he's the kind of guy though who beats his wife. So I don't think he really cares.
He's not the smartest guy in the world.
Yeah, he's going to break a rule like that as much as he wants.
Absolutely fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to jump, just a real quick aside. Yael, I'm going to loan you all these issues and you're going to catch up. But I've been reading along with the graphic novel series for Grimm. It's a lot of fun. They just started I think it's like a 5-part or something. It's called Grimm the Warlock, which we're in the second, this week came out the second issue of that series. The first one had like they're tracking down a basketball player's mother who got kidnapped by a Lowen because they don't want him to play because then Portland will win the NBA finals or something.
Okay.
It was a good book. And then we got this week a eagle owl guy. I cannot for the life of me remember what he was called, but who murdered somebody. And the Parks Department found him, and Monroe is involved because he was checking clocks at some historical building.
Of course he was.
He's always tinkering around with something.
Yeah.
And then there's the ominous dude who, like, at the back of both issues is like, we're going to have to take out the Grimm. Ooh. And it feels like mini episodes in each issue, and that's what's really good. So we're going to get you caught up,
I hope so.
And then we'll get into a discussion next time there's a new issue.
Yeah.
I highly recommend you guys check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah.
So with that, let's move on to predictions for the actual show.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Those of you listening, there's ghostly lighting and it's perfect.
It is.
So we got a little bit more of a preview, like some big stuff going to come next week. This episode, we got some personal relationships moving along, but next week looks like we're going to get back to some big plot points.
Yeah.
We open up, there's a scorpion Wesen, which looks crazy badass.
It looks terrifying.
It reminded me of, made me think of the Andalites from the Animorphs books. But just a scorpion tail, that's it. But but that looks really cool. And And then we get Meet the Fuchsbau.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Oh, my God. Meet the parents.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see not only Rosalee's mother, that I think is going to be really exciting, but I think seeing Monroe act out or meet her is going to be even more exciting.
Well, we get a lot of this cross-species relationships. Joe's a Klaus Strike, Alicia's a Fuchsbau, Rosalee's a Fuchsbau, Monroe's a Blutbot, and so like we're seeing more and more and more of this. Now we get to see what the older generation thinks.
Right.
I imagine they're not going to be too happy about a Blutbot coming to dinner.
Yeah, if they're anything like the older human generation, they're not going to like this.
Oh, God. It's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner all over again.
Yep.
I hope that they're just almost as ridiculous as any other characters. Like, I want like a comedy, a total like rom-com situation.
Oh, it's going to be. It's totally going to be.
Well, it could go a dark route where it's like, we don't approve.
Yeah,
but I really want a light, fluffy.
Even that
like,
is going to be hilarious.
like little Fuchsbau children like climbing all over Monroe. He doesn't know what to do. That's what I want to see. I don't know about you at home, but tell us what you want to see. That's what I want.
That sounds great.
But the big plot point, that's all fun stuff. The big plot point, Adeline looks like she's going into labor.
Yep. I was so wrong with my 3 seasons of pregnancy.
Pregnant. It didn't even last an episode.
Nope.
But now she's like, this means big changes for the show.
Yeah.
Renard's gonna have to charge in there, be the captain. I guess he's gonna have to go back to Europe.
Yeah.
He came back for 2 episodes.
Yeah,
but,
it was a waste.
I mean, I wanted him to go back anyway.
Yep.
I just want Nick to go with him.
I wonder what's gonna happen.
I mean, what could the baby like? What's it gonna be like? If it's Renard's child, that makes it 3/4 Hexen Beast and 1/4 Royal. Which Rosalee and Monroe tried to explain all that to us a couple weeks ago. The whole part, everything. I
got nothing.
They did, but they were establishing health problems with like weird cross species things. So maybe we're gonna see some big health issues.
Ooh.
I don't know. How much is that magic going to affect the baby?
I don't know. It could be a little bit. It could be a lot. That baby could be super Hexen Beasty, awesome, supreme Hexen Beast, or it could be, just
come out like fully grown.
Yeah.
It's just an adult in like a season. Like go like Angel. We just find an excuse to make that child an adult.
Yeah. I really hope that the baby comes out and has 0 powers. Is nothing special. It is very human.
But even that like causes a huge disruption in the royal issues.
Yep.
There's a new royal on the plane with somebody dead. Who know with Eric dead.
Yeah.
Who knows what that's gonna mean?
Yep.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for the Grimm podcast. Whether you're Wesen, human, royal, or Kyresh Gurkenranger.
You're just making up words.
No, I'm not. But whatever you are, thank you for tuning in. Yael, where can the people find you?
The people can find me at www.yael.tv, yael.tv, and on Twitter at Yael Tygiel, YAELTYGIEL.
All right, I'm Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter at @ZachWilson. That's Zach with a CH, spelled the right way. You can also catch me on the Almost Human podcasts, and starting this week, Helix and Archer.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.